But all right, Forged in Chaos, A Warrior's Origin Story by Tyler Gray and Lauren Ungeldy. All right, the introduction is only a couple pages long. All right, introduction. Let's start by getting one thing very clear. I'm not a hero. I'm not a badass. I am not a role model to emulate or a champion to salute. What I am is a warrior. Most people think being a warrior means being a fighter or a soldier, needed only in times of danger or war. Others equate it with violence or aggression. To me, being a warrior extends far beyond any uniform. A warrior embodies a strong sense of duty, an innate connection to a higher purpose, and a clear mission. A warrior remains calm amid chaos, possesses natural mental fortitude, and acts bravely in the face of resistance. A warrior is someone who stands up for what they believe and holds fast in their convictions. A warrior is willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good, even risking their life to protect others. This is who I am by nature, my raw essence, my DNA. I couldn't change it if I tried. The pages that follow, however, are not filled with heroic tales or accounts of courageous deeds. Instead, they contain confessions, raw truths, and uncomfortably real stories that reveal a side of warriors often hidden in the shadows. They say you should never meet your heroes, and there's a reason for that. You're about to see a portrait of a warrior that may forever change how you view those you may look up to. You will see me as a superhero and a villain, a warrior and a destroyer, a courageous giant full of purpose and power, and a broken man struggling to piece himself back together. I'm warning you now so you know exactly what you're getting into. The stories in this book are not just a collection of curated moments from my life that I felt compelled to memorialize. They are, in fact, clues. Each one is a piece of a puzzle that will come together to reveal a larger picture in the end. So no matter how unusual, comical, unsettling, peculiar, or tragic you find any particular story, read it carefully. Every single one has a purpose, and if, in the pages ahead, you think I sound like an asshole or a jerk, conflicted or confused, hypocritical or arrogant, it's because I was exactly that at that time. You see, most books are a collection of memories, polished by time and experience, painted with the smooth and flattering brush of hindsight. Mine is not. I want you to experience the events as they happened, and immerse yourself in my inner dialogue as it unfolds. Through this unfiltered lens, you'll uncover both shards of truth and fragments of deception. As you witness my inner dialogue, note it carefully, because the truth can sometimes masquerade as a lie, and lies can cloak themselves in the truth. And the lies we tell ourselves can be far more insidious than those we tell others. And maybe as you listen to my inner dialogue, you'll hear your own voice. I need you to gather all of it, the lies, the truths, because both are crucial for unraveling the mystery. Luckily for you, or perhaps unluckily, depending on your perspective, my inner dialogue is laced with a twisted sense of humor and an affinity for sarcasm. And if any of the jokes here offend you, just remember, this is my inner dialogue, so technically, I didn't say it out loud. So now, if you're anything like me, you're probably asking, okay, so what's the mystery? Good question. That will become clear as you read. But let me offer you at least a hint before we dive into the whole introduction, as it's just a bunch of dramatic bullshit. Many of you know that I fought in Afghanistan and Iraq, serving as a Special Operations Forces operator and spending nearly 4 years as a 2nd Ranger Battalion sniper. What most of you don't know is that I waged a battle on another front, a secret war against a nameless enemy. The collateral damage from the secret war within was profound, affecting every aspect of my life: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and sexual. For years, I felt like I was grappling with symptoms of an undiagnosed illness, exhausted from the battle of an unnamed enemy in my own mind. I felt like I was trying to piece together the fragments of a fractured identity, and nothing seemed to fit. I even legally changed my identity. Day after day, no matter how bruised or battered I felt, I kept fighting and refused to quit. When people asked how I was doing, I kept saying I was fine, just fine, because I had been trained to contribute to the team and never take away from it. A master at the art of silent suffering. But I couldn't ignore the fact that there was a disease spreading, mutating, ravaging every point of my life, consuming me from the inside out. Everyone kept naming the enemy PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, diagnosing my struggles with these 4 little letters. They told me I felt the way I did because I was living in some post-traumatic purgatory that was wreaking havoc on my brain. But that label never quite fit me. Maybe it wasn't incorrect, but it certainly was incomplete. And I couldn't help but wonder if PTSD diagnosis and treatments were effective. Why have we lost nearly 4 times as many veterans to suicide as we have in combat? Why are mental health struggles and suicide rates among veterans, law enforcement officers, first responders, and other service members escalating? Why was fine often the last word spoken by too many of our beloved warriors, days or even hours before they took their own lives? Awareness is higher than ever. A broader range of recovery and treatment options is more available than any other time in history, and yet the problem is getting worse. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to this mystery than we'd uncovered, and I developed a strong suspicion that PTSD wasn't the only culprit involved. While it was undeniably a symptom, I wasn't convinced that it was the disease. Like a detective in an old whodunit, I started following clues, convinced that the faceless enemy I battled was more than a disorder caused by a single event. I chased clues, followed patterns, asked questions. As I began to unravel the mystery, it fundamentally transformed my life. I experienced peace for the first time, and honestly, I didn't know what to do with myself after being at war for so long. Initially, my discoveries were personal and private. A part of me wanted to ride off into the sunset and enjoy the newfound peace and unconditional love all by myself. But then 2 things happened. First, I had an oh shit moment. It started when I opened my big mouth and began talking about the breakthroughs I had discovered and discoveries that had led to them. During that time, I went on the Sean Ryan Show podcast and shared my story. Unscripted, raw, and honest. That's when the dam broke and a tidal wave of calls, texts, emails, DMs came at me by the hundreds, saying the following: I felt like you were describing me. Or, I went through the same thing. Or, how did you know? I thought I was the only one. When I heard you speak about how you felt growing up, it was like it came from inside my own head. Warriors from all backgrounds and locations across the country kept reaching out week after week, month after month, year after year. And suddenly I realized that what I had discovered wasn't a fluke. I'd been so afflicted with the case of terminal uniqueness that I believed I was alone in my struggle. I thought I was the only one. But I was wrong. Hundreds and thousands of warriors were fighting similar wars within themselves. I might have been a prototype, but the mold was the same. As I looked at the faces behind the messages, I understood the gravity of the situation. These weren't just messages. They were distress signals from a darkening battlefield. Every one of these warriors was grappling with some inner struggles I had faced, fighting to gain the upper hand. I couldn't just sit back and withhold my discoveries and strategies that could change the course of this war to save our warriors. That's when the oh shit moment happened. I knew exactly what I needed to do. I needed to be patient zero. I needed to lie down on my examination table, turn on a big bright light, open up, and allow my life and experiences to be dissected and used as a template to study the disease. That's why in the pages ahead, you will see my secrets. All the gross little pockets of infection, weird ingrown abscesses, fractured bits, misshapen parts. And while that's uncomfortable, it's also necessary because it's the only way to find a cure. The second thing that happened after my oh shit moment was I started having really strange encounters with a handful of brilliant doctors, counselors, and medical researchers. They listened to me rattle on about my discoveries and then looked at me with the glow of academic knowledge that seemed to say, "You're onto something." And that's when things got really interesting. It turns out that my discoveries weren't just inspirational antidotes. They were scientifically proven medical breakthroughs that had taken place in research labs but had yet to be fully utilized to turn the tide in the war to save our warriors. That is when my mindset shifted. Now I'm in full battle mode. We are not at war as a nation, yet our warriors are dying daily. This means the enemy is coming from within. I won't stand by while it continues to claim more lives than any foreign adversary has in years. I won't stay silent while the lives of good families and relationships become collateral damage in the unseen war. To the warrior class, not just the active duty military, veterans, first responders, fighter fires, law enforcement officers, and medical warriors, but anyone who chooses to fight rather than surrender, I hope my story inspires you. If you're on the front lines of a war within, don't give up. Don't accept defeat. Victory is possible. But first, we've got to understand the true nature of the war we're fighting and unite to win it. Recovery isn't the end game here, it is just the beginning. We need you to recover and heal so you can fulfill your purpose and complete your mission. Your family, community, country, and world need you more than ever right now. My hope is that the insight I share here will turn the tide before it's too late. I hope it will help you gain the upper hand before you harm those you love and suffer the pain of losing them. Most of all, I hope the space between your ears become a safe and peaceful place, and you experience truly living without a war raging inside. I have finally experienced it, and I promise you it is everything I had hoped it would be. Inner peace is the greatest feeling I've ever had. And to all those who love a warrior, a spouse, a partner, friend, son, daughter, parent, or other family member, I hope my story will articulate all the things your warrior feels but hasn't said. I hope my story will foster greater understanding, connection, and compassion between you and the warrior you cherish. And in case no one else has said it in a while, thank you. Your love changes everything. And so with that, I offer you my life stories for forensic analysis. Read the pages ahead carefully, gather evidence, pay attention to fragments of truth, and even closer attention to lies. Every story, every relationship, every heartbreak, every encounter with addiction, and every friction point you're about to read is a clue to a piece of a bigger puzzle. Let's solve it together. That is the introduction to Forged in Chaos by Tyler Gray and Joran Engeldi. If that doesn't make you want to freaking read it, I don't know what won't. Or what will. I am very impressed by that introduction.